Welcome to Dr. J. Francis YouTube channel. If you have an immigration court date coming up, what we're about to tell you could be the difference between walking out of the courthouse or being detained by ICE. Hi, I'm Attorney J. Francis. I'm a U.S. immigration lawyer based in Chicago and Wisconsin, but serve all 50 states. Since May of this year, ICE officers have been stationed outside of courtrooms across the country, arresting people immediately after their hearings end. In fact, their case is dismissed. This isn't just about another policy change. It's coordinated enforcement action that caught thousands of immigrants and their family completely off guard and continues. In the next few minutes, we will explain exactly what's happening, who's at risk, and most importantly, what you can do to protect yourself.
Okay, so let's jump right in. There's something pretty significant happening, impacting folks with immigration court dates coming up.
Definitely. We're hearing about, increased government enforcement actions, but specifically outside the courthouses.
Right, and it often seems linked to cases getting dismissed inside the court. Plus, there's some internal guidance that might be affecting how those dismissals happen.
Exactly. It's a complicated picture.
And we're digging into this based on materials you, our listener, shared. Thanks for that. We have a flyer warning people about arrests outside court.
And also a practice alert that talks about guidance sent to immigration judges.
So our mission today is to unpack these. What's really going on? Who's affected? And, what do these sources actually say about navigating it all?
Let's start with that flyer. What's it describing on the ground?
It says that since late May 2025, ICE officers have reportedly been showing up outside many immigration courts.
And potentially arresting people right after their hearing finishes.
Yeah, and it flags a specific pattern. Sometimes the government lawyer asks the judge to dismiss the case.
And then boom, as the person leaves the building, ICE's there, picks him up, and starts expedited removal.
Okay, expedited removal. What does that mean in this situation? Is it different?
It is. It's a faster deportation process.
Yeah.
The crucial part here, it means you don't get another hearing in front of an immigration judge. It's much quicker.
So not everyone faces this, right? Who does the flyer say is potentially vulnerable?
Well, it points to people who enter the U.S. without being inspected, like crossing the border without permission, and who can't prove they've been physically present here for 2 full years.
2 years, okay. Anyone else?
It also mentions certain humanitarian parolees, maybe people who use the CBP-1 app, for example, if their parole status gets terminated or canceled.
Even if they've been here longer than 2 years?
Apparently, yes. The logic described is that parole isn't considered a formal admission, like, say, entering with a visa, so that 2-year protection might not apply the same way.
That's a key distinction. So who's generally not targeted by this specific expedited removal process, according to the flyer?
Generally, anyone who was inspected and formally admitted when they entered, even if their status expired later. But again, unless they were paroled.
Okay.
Also, people who can actually prove they've been living here continuously for 2 years or more. Unaccompanied kids under 18. And interestingly, Cuban nationals who arrived by plane.
Proving that 2-year presence sounds absolutely vital then. What kind of proof are we talking about?
Yeah, the flyer really emphasizes this. Things like lease agreements, utility bills in your name, maybe bank statements showing local activity.
Dated records, essentially.
Exactly. Medical records, school records for kids, employment stubs, even just personal mail with postmarks going back over 2 years. The advice is keep copies ready, maybe in a safe folder.
Okay, let's say the worst happens. Someone is stopped or arrested leaving court. What does the flyer say they should do, especially if they fear going back home?
This is critical. You have to speak up immediately. Tell the ICE officer very specific things.
Like what?
Phrases like, I am afraid to return to my home country, or I would like a fear screening interview. Even just, I fear persecution or torture.
And saying those specific words helps.
According to the source, yes. Using those phrases should trigger a pause in the expedited removal process so you can have a fear screening with an asylum officer. It buys you crucial time.
Good to know. And basic rights if detained.
The usual, but always worth repeating. Right to remain silent. Right to talk to a lawyer. Definitely get one if you're detained. Right to call your consulate. And police can't just search your home without a warrant signed by a judge.
And the flyer mentions the stakes are high with expedited removal.
Very high. Deportation could happen super fast, maybe within a day. There's no appeal for the removal order itself. It usually comes with a 5-year ban on returning.
And makes future visas or family reunification way harder down the line.
Exactly. Okay, so that's the scene outside the court. What about inside? This practice alert talks about guidance judges received.
Right. It references an email from EOIR, that's the agency running the courts, sent to Assistant Chief Immigration Judges on May 30th, 2025.
And what did this email say about dismissing cases? Because that seems connected to the arrest outside.
Well, according to the specific guidance described in the alert, government lawyers, DHS, can ask to dismiss a case orally just by speaking in court.
And the judge can decide right then and there from the bench.
Yes. And here's the kicker. The alert says this email guidance states that the usual 10-day period for the respondent, the immigrant, to reply to that dismissal motion is not required in these situations.
Wait, no time to respond? That seems odd.
That's exactly what the practice alert digs into. It points out that this internal email guidance seems to clash, potentially conflict with existing federal regulations and even the court's own practice manual.
How so?
The alert suggests regulations like 8 CFR 1003.23, and the practice manual generally allow time for parties to respond to motions. That 10-day response window is pretty standard procedure for written filings.
So the email saying no 10-day period needed goes against the grain.
It appears so, based on the alert's analysis. The alert even notes the email seems to misquote another regulation about dismissing the initial charging document, the NTA.
So you've got this dynamic, faster dismissals possibly being pushed inside court based on guidance that might contradict standard procedure.
Potentially leading directly to arrests and expedited removal right outside the courthouse doors. It's quite a sequence.
And the flyer did mention there are lawsuits challenging these courthouse arrests, right? But we don't know the outcomes yet.
Correct. Those are ongoing. So amidst all this complexity, what's the bottom line for someone caught in this system?
Both sources are crystal clear on this point. This is just general info. You absolutely, positively need to talk to a good immigration lawyer about your specific case.
Cannot stress that enough. Generic advice won't cut it here.
Not with things shifting like this.
So let's leave you with a thought to chew on. How do these enforcement tactics outside the court connect with procedural shifts happening inside, especially when internal guidance might be, shall we say, out of sync with the established rules?
Yeah, what does that combination mean for someone trying to navigate the system right now? It really highlights the tricky and sometimes unpredictable landscape people.
Let's be clear about what we covered today. Immigration enforcement has fundamentally changed. ICE arrests at courthouses are happening daily. Immigration judges are dismissing cases without proper notice. And expedited removal means you could be deported within 24 hours and with a 5-year ban on returning. If this video helped you, please hit the like button and share it with anyone who needs this information. Drop a comment if you have any questions. And remember, in these uncertain times, being prepared isn't paranoid, it's smart. Subscribe for more immigration updates. Stay safe, stay informed. I will see you in next video. Peace be with you.